American gardeners in their 50s and 60s are still rebuying bare June patches when one plant could have multiplied into 10. Not your fault. Nobody ever showed you these 12 perennials turn one purchase into a compounding permanent ass. Before plant number 1, drop your state right now, because your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 12 kept dividing it every spring, without ever telling anyone why. For 3 generations, here is what most miss. Plant number 1, Asiatic Lily, where one $18 bulb bought at a garden center today quietly becomes 5 separate bulbs worth more than $90 at full retail within 3 growing seasons. Picture a single trumpet-shaped July bloom on one stem multiplying year after year into a dense layered stand of color spilling across the entire bed by its 3rd summer. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize this lily splits itself underground into new bulbs every single season without any help from you. University Extension confirms mature lily bulbs naturally form 2 to 3 offset bulbs underground by year 2. That one $18 bulb becomes 5 bulbs, worth roughly $90 at retail, by year 3. Most American growers dig and divide too early. Before those offset bulbs have fully formed underground, dig too soon, and you lose 2 of those 5 bulbs, cutting your $90 return down to $50. Divide only after the foliage turns yellow and dies back completely in fall, and every one of those 5 bulbs survives the move intact, ready to replant exactly where you want next season's color. But bulbs are actually the slow multiplier on this list. The next flower splits itself even faster, forming entire new corms underground and completely out of sight before you ever notice. And somewhere in this video is the story of a retired couple in Michigan who turned one iris clump into an entire flower border over 5 years. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, Crocosmia, the flower that delivers exactly on that promise, splitting one $8 corm cluster into a dozen new corms underground within 2 full-growing seasons, without you ever seeing a single moment of it happen. Picture arching sprays of fiery orange-red, trumpet-shaped blooms shooting up in midsummer from a corm cluster that was barely a handful the summer before. Zones 5 through 9, full sun, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize Crocosmia corms stack underground, a new corm forming on top of the old one every year. University Extension trial data confirms a single planting can form 12 or more cormlets within 2 growing seasons. That one $8 cluster becomes a dozen corms, worth close to $70 at retail, by year 2. Most American growers leave the old spent corm buried on top, smothering the new ones below it. Leave it buried, and you lose half those cormlets, cutting your $70 return down to $35. Once you divide in early spring before new growth emerges, every one of those dozen corms transplants clean and blooms by midsummer. But this one multiplies underground unseen. The next flower on this list is even bolder in bloom, and just as relentless in spreading. Have you ever grown Crocosmia? Not in a pot, not in a greenhouse, but directly in your garden. Plant number 3, hardy hibiscus, the flower that lives up to that tease one $15 root crown, quietly expanding into a wide-spreading clump, worth well over $80 at retail within 3 full-growing seasons. Picture dinner plate-sized blooms, some nearly a foot across, opening fresh every single morning. Zones 4 through 9, full sun, moist soil. Most gardeners never realize the woody crown of this hibiscus widens every year, pushing new stems from its outer edge. University Extension growers note a mature crown can double its stem count within 3 seasons with no division at all. That one $15 plant becomes a clump worth $80 or more in retail value by year 3. Most American growers cut this hibiscus back too early in fall before the crown stores enough energy. Cut back too soon, and next year's growth shrinks by half, costing nearly $40 in lost expansion. Wait until the first hard frost blackens the leaves before you cut this hibiscus back, and every ounce of that stored energy carries straight into next year's growth. This hibiscus spreads by slowly widening its own crown, But the next plant on this list multiplies by splitting itself apart into pieces you can lift and replant one by one.
Plant number 4, Siberian iris, the plant that fulfills that exact promise. One $10 clump splitting into 6 separate divisions, worth well over $60 at retail within just 2 growing seasons. Picture slender grass-like blades topped with delicate blue-purple blooms in late spring, each division growing into its own full clump by the following year. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun to part shade, moist soil. Most gardeners never realize a Siberian iris clump forms a dense ring of fans, each one capable of becoming its own plant. University Extension Division guides confirm a 3-year old clump can yield 6 to 8 healthy divisions in one dig. That one $10 clump becomes 6 plants worth roughly $60 in retail value within 2 years. Most American growers divide this iris too infrequently, letting the center of the clump die out and go hollow. Wait past year 4 and you lose the strongest divisions entirely, cutting that return down to $30. Every 3 years right after it finishes blooming, and every fan you separate roots into a healthy new clump within 1 season. This iris divides in tidy clumps. But the next plant on this list, divide this iris, naturalizes on its own, spreading into a drift you never even have to touch.
Plant number 5, daffodil, the bulb that proves that exact promise. One $5 bulb, naturalizing into a full drift of 20 or more blooms within just 5 years, with absolutely zero effort from you. Picture a scattered handful of golden trumpet blooms nodding along a lawn edge in March, spreading wider and thicker every single spring. Zones 3 through 9, full sun to part shade, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize daffodil bulbs form small offset bulblets around the mother bulb every single year underground. USDA Plants Database data confirms a single bulb can produce 2 to 4 new bulbs within 3 seasons. That one $5 bulb becomes 4 bulbs worth roughly $20 at retail within 3 years. Most American growers mow down daffodil foliage completely right after the blooms fade, cutting the process short. Cut the leaves too early, and the bulb never fully recharges, losing half of next year's bloom count. Let the yellowing foliage die back completely on its own for a full 6 weeks after blooming ends, and every bit of that stored energy banks straight into next year's bulb count. The spreading hasn't even started yet. The next plant on this list creeps steadily across bare ground faster than anything you've grown so far. Plant number 6, spiderwort, the plant that finally proves that speed. One $6 clump, self-seeding and creeping steadily into a 2-foot wide patch worth $30 or more at retail within just 2 growing seasons. Picture clusters of small purple-blue, 3-petaled blooms, opening fresh each morning and quietly closing by early afternoon. Zones 4 through 9, full sun to part shade, moist soil. Most gardeners never realize spiderwort self-seeds so readily it fills bare patches on its own without a single division. University Extension notes a single clump can drop enough seed to colonize a 3-foot radius within 2 seasons. That one $6 clump becomes a patch worth $30 or more in ground. Cover value by year 2. Most American growers cut this plant back hard in midsummer, right when it is setting the seed that spreads it. Cut it back too soon, and you lose that season's spread, costing $15 in ground cover value. Let the seed heads mature and drop naturally in late summer, and this spiderwort fills every bare gap in that bed on its own. And that story I promised at the start, the couple who turned one clump into an entire border, is coming up right now. What plant, spot, or situation in your yard has defeated every single thing you have tried? Drop it below.
Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a retired couple in Michigan. This is that story. Living in Zone 5 just outside Grand Rapids, Bob and Carol Whitmore spent $40 on one small Siberian iris clump back in 2019, the exact kind University Extension guides recommend dividing every 3 years. And by dividing it faithfully each spring, that single clump now lines their entire 200-foot driveway border today. Today, That entire border holds over 60 individual iris plants. A collection Bob calculates would cost more than $400 to buy it full retail in one single season. This next plant is not in any catalog and not on any nursery shelf. It made this list only because you stayed long enough to deserve it.
Plant number 7, Creeping Phlox, the plant that fully lives up to that claim. One $6 mat spreading into a wide 3-foot carpet of vibrant color within just 2 full growing seasons. Picture a low, dense mat completely smothered in tiny pink, purple, or white blooms every April, cascading over rocks and garden edges like a spilled paint can. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize creeping phlox roots itself wherever trailing stems touch bare soil, creating new plants free. University extension guides confirm these self-rooted stem sections can be separated as fully independent plants. That one $6 mat becomes 5 separate plants worth roughly $30 in retail value within 2 years. Most American growers plant this phlox in heavy clay soil, where trailing stems can't make contact and root. Plant it in the wrong soil, and that spread stalls, costing you $20 in lost ground. Cover value. Work in some coarse sand or compost before planting if your soil runs heavy, and those trailing stems will root and spread exactly as they should. Phlox spreads by rooting sideways along the ground wherever it touches. But the next plant on this list spreads by rhizome instead, pushing brand new shoots straight up through soil you never even disturbed. Plant number 8, Obedient Plant, the one that truly proves that rhizome speed. One $8 clump sending up new shoots a full foot away from the original planting within just one single growing season. Picture tall spikes of pink or white tubular blooms in late summer, each stem staying wherever you bend it, like a flower with a memory. Zones 3 through 9, full sun to part shade, moist soil. Most gardeners never realize this plant sends rhizomes traveling underground a full foot before surfacing as a new shoot. University Extension notes this habit is exactly why the species is also sold as false dragonhead. That one $8 clump becomes a 3-foot patch worth $25 at retail within 2 years. Most American growers plant it in a small border bed, never expecting it to travel this far underground. Plant it there and you'll spend $15 a year pulling shoots from beds where you never wanted them. Give this plant its own bed or bury a root barrier a foot deep, and that traveling habit becomes an asset instead of a headache. This one spreads underground unseen, but the next plant on this list spreads in plain sight, forming a thick mat within weeks. Drop your state in the comments. Your USDA zone changes which of these spreads fastest for you.
Plant number 9, Liriope, the plant that finally delivers exactly on that promise. One $6 clump thickening into a dense, weed-smothering 2-foot mat within just 2 full growing seasons. Picture dense, grass-like evergreen blades topped with tall spikes of purple-blue flowers in late summer, forming a solid green border that never once leaves a single visible gap. Zones 4 through 10, full sun to shade, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize Liriope spreads by underground rhizomes that push new fans just inches from the parent clump. University Extension confirms this species can fill a bare 3-foot bed within 2 to 3 seasons unassisted. That one $6 clump becomes a solid mat worth roughly $40 in retail ground. Cover value by year 3. Most American growers space individual plants too far apart, expecting them to fill gaps that take years to close. Space them too wide, and you'll wait 2 extra years for that same $40 coverage to fill in. Space new Liriope plants 12 to 18 inches apart from the very start, and that solid, weed-smothering mat fully closes in, right on schedule, within 2 to 3 full growing years. Liriope spreads steadily rhizome by rhizome, but we're saving the single fastest spreader on this entire list for last, and it's coming up right now.
Plant number 10, Lamb's Ear, the plant that truly earns that title. One $6 clump spreading into a solid weed-choking 3-foot mat within a single full growing season. without another dollar spent. Picture soft, silvery green fuzzy leaves spreading low and dense, spilling over garden edges and stone borders like a carpet you actually want to reach down and touch. Zones 4 through 9, full sun, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize lamb's ear roots itself wherever a low stem touches soil, forming new plants without any seed. University Extension notes a mature clump can double its footprint within one season through this self-layering habit. That $16 clump becomes a solid mat worth roughly $35 in ground. Cover value within 2 years. Most American growers let the flower spikes bloom and go to seed, pulling energy away from that spreading mat. Let those spikes seed, and the mat spread slows by half, costing a full extra year of coverage. Trim flower spikes as soon as they appear, and that redirected energy pours straight into faster mat coverage. Lamb's ear spreads through soft, low stems, but the next plant spreads through fragrant runners you'll smell before you ever see them. Have you ever grown lamb's ear directly in your garden? Not just a pot? Drop it below. Plant number 11, Sweet Woodruff, the fragrant runner spreader we just teased. One $6 patch creeping into a dense 2-foot carpet within just one single growing season, covering ground U.D, otherwise mulched by hand every year. Picture whorled green leaves releasing a sweet hay-like scent underfoot, dotted with tiny white star-shaped blooms in shaded corners every spring. Zones 4 through 8 part, shade to full shade, moist soil. Most gardeners never realize this plant runners send new shoots every few inches, filling shade nothing else covers. University Extension notes this ancestral strewing herb was once dried and tucked into linens for its sweet scent. That $16 patch becomes a shaded carpet worth $30 in ground. Cover value within 2 years. Most American growers plant it in full sun, where the foliage scorches and the spreading habit stalls completely. Plant it in sun, and you'll lose that entire $30 carpet, replacing dead patches every single spring. Plant it in part to full shade from the start, and that fragrant carpet fills in exactly as promised, with zero scorch. Sweet Woodruff spreads by roots you can't see, but the last plant on this list has waited the whole video, and it spreads fastest of all. Did you believe dividing plants damages their health? Be honest in the comments.
Plant number 12, Sedum Dragon's Blood, the one we saved for last. One $6 tray rooting from broken stem pieces into a solid 4-foot mat within one single growing season, faster than every other plant on this list. Picture thick, burgundy red succulent foliage hugging the ground densely, topped with clusters of tiny star-shaped pink-red blooms that pull in bees all summer. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun, well-drained soil. Most gardeners never realize any broken sedum piece roots itself the moment it touches soil. No hormone needed. University Extension trial data confirm stem cuttings root and establish in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. That $16 tray becomes a 4-foot mat worth roughly $45 in ground. Cover value within a year. Most American growers toss broken stem pieces into the compost, discarding real retail value without realizing it. Toss those pieces out, and you lose up to $45 in ground. Cover value you could have grown yourself. Save every broken stem piece and press it into bare soil nearby, and each one roots into a brand new patch within a matter of weeks. 12 plants, one clear pattern. A small investment today compounds into a permanent, thriving landscape. You never have to purchase again. Here is exactly where to begin.
3 things about dividing these 12 perennials that almost no other source puts together in one single place. A basic flat spade divides every clump on this list, cleaner than any specialty dividing tool sold for up to $40 each, and it is already sitting in your garage right now. Sedum, creeping phlox, and spiderwort all resent deep planting, and burying the crown even 1 single inch too deep kills off $15 of rooted growth instantly, every time. Liriope and lamb's ear are the 2 exceptions on this entire list that actually prefer being left undivided for 5 full years, rewarding your patience with a denser, more valuable mat than early division ever produces. Across all 12 of these perennials, one small initial investment of roughly $100 compounds into over $600 of permanent landscape value within 5 seasons, without a single repeat purchase. Here is exactly where to begin, based on your zone. Right now, here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. If you garden in zones 3 through 5, divide Siberian iris, daffodil, and sedum this fall for the fastest establishment, since these 3 tolerate cold season division far better than anything else on this entire list, turning roughly $30 in small starter clumps into well over $150 of spread. If you garden in zones 6 through 9, wait for early fall coolness before dividing hardy hibiscus, crocosmia, and creeping phlox, since lingering summer heat stresses fresh new divisions badly and stalls that same $30 investment for an entire extra year. Miss this critical fall division window in either zone, and your very first real dollar return waits a full single year longer than it ever truly needed to.
You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded, research-based division knowledge that most American gardening channels never put together in one single place. If this video gave you even one single plant you had never considered dividing before today, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel keep researching every week. Drop your state and your exact USDA zone below right now and tell us which one of these 12 perennials you are dividing first this coming fall. Subscribe to Natural Verge. The plants your great-grandmother once grew are still out there waiting, and we track them down for you every single week.